Well, it's Tuesday morning. Happy Tuesday morning. Happy exam day to the upper schoolers. The end of term one. Like I said yesterday, hard to believe that we are at this point of the calendar year. But we're going to go ahead and do the morning devotion this morning. Afterwards, please, I'm going to transition into Colonel Goad asked me to go over the day's schedule with both the upper schoolers and the middle schoolers. So teachers, please do not end the video early. Please have the cadets watch the video the entire way through to include the schedule for the rest of the day today. We're going to continue looking at fear. We started on Sunday and continued yesterday with the idea of what to do with fear, with this whole COVID world we live in, and all the other things that bring us fear into our hearts and into our lives. How do we deal with it? We talked on Sunday about how David tackled a giant, literally, with what appeared to be the complete absence of fear, but he knew how to control that fear. And we're talking this week about how David was able to control that fear. Yesterday I talked about looking up. Today I'm going to encourage you to look around. We certainly cannot live our lives always looking up at God. We have to live our lives. We have to go out and do things on behalf of God and live our lives. And I think that's what I'm talking about when I say look around. The problem with looking around is as life happens, it brings worry to us, worry. And I think worry is a manifestation of a type of fear where, things upset us, what could happen. We worry about, you know, what could happen, the future. We start playing out scenarios in our head according to our fears, and that's where worry comes from. So today's passage, pretty straight up and forward, out of the Gospel of Luke. Jesus says, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or your body, what you will wear." He says, "Who of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to your life?" Jesus is saying, it seems like a lot of you really worry about a lot of stuff. He's talking to his followers, and of course, I think he's talking to us today. Um, what's the benefit of worrying? I think that's what Jesus would say if I could use it in today's vocabulary and language. What good is it going to do to worry? Uh, are you adding hours to your life? I would actually argue it's probably the opposite. We tend to take away from our lives when we worry. Um, so a good reminder there from Jesus as we encounter things that bring us fear and worry, that we are not to worry, that we should put our trust in God, and that worry serves no benefit whatsoever. Our next passage is out of Psalm 112. It is verse 7. And the psalmist is writing to the people of God. He says, "They will have no fear of bad news. Their hearts are steadfast, trusting in the Lord." Again, I think that's worry as well, right? We tend to anticipate, maybe in our minds, bad news. Maybe you've got someone in your family, for example, who's very susceptible or high risk with this COVID-19 virus, and it's just like people are just waiting for that shoe to drop, that person would get sick, that they would test positive, that they would come in contact with somebody, and it just kind of overwhelms you because you start worrying about bad news. You get a phone call from a family member that you haven't heard from in a few weeks, perhaps, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, why are they calling? Is something going? Think about it. In our own lives, we can probably think of examples that are very similar to that. But the psalmist says, because the people of God trust in God, because they trust in God, their hearts are steadfast, and they will have no fear of bad news. Um, the old saying, cross the bridge when you get to it. A lot of us anticipate that bridge way far in advance, and many times we don't even come to that bridge, but we worry about how we're going to cross it. So if you have that fear today or that worry, um, maybe this might help you, this verse. And then finally, the last verse today. I think we've gone over this before in chapel this year already, but I'm going to talk about it again out of the book of Isaiah, chapter 41. And this is God talking to the people through Isaiah. He says, "I have chosen you. I have not rejected you, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. God is saying that as you walk through life, you're not walking through this alone. You're not walking through this alone. I'm going to be there, God would tell you, and I'm going to put people there with you. So as we look around and in the journey of our life and try to deal with this fear and this stress and then the anxiety of things that are all around us, may you be reminded today through the words of the prophet Isaiah that you are not alone, that God is with you and that God will provide help for you. And in many cases, it's the people that he provides for us in our lives. As we wrap up this devotion this morning, please consider that if there's anything that is causing you stress or anxiety or worry or fear in your life today, remember, as we talked about yesterday, look up to God, be reminded of who God is and what your relationship with God is. And then today, look around. Live your life. Live your life. Certainly, life will have its ups and downs, but live your life, especially knowing that you're not doing it by yourself, that God is with you along the way. So after I go over these exam day reminders, I'll turn it over to the teachers and the classes to do the closing prayer. So you might want to see if anyone has any prayer concerns or requests that they might want to share with the class to be prayed over. And if any of you have any specific prayer requests for me, please feel free to email me or stop me if you see me walking around and let me know. I would appreciate it. Okay, let's talk about exam day. Colonel Good wanted me to remind you of today's schedule. So let's go dive right into it. This is for the upper school, grades 9 through 12 and postgraduate. 8 o'clock to 8:15 is this devotion time. About 8:15 to 9 o'clock should be the review time. So whatever time you finish your devotion and your prayer time or discussion, up until 9 o'clock is review time. So as soon as you finish that, start your review time. From 9 to 9:15, there will be a 15-minute break. The note there for the teachers, please monitor the hallways, keep distancing in mind. Cadets, please remember it's only a 15-minute break. Be back in your classroom no later than 9:15 when you're given that break. Because at 9:15, from 9:15 until 11:15, you'll have 2 hours for the exam. And as you finish the exam, if you finish within those 2 hours, take a look and see what your term 2 class teacher is and the location. Check your schedule, make sure that you are in the term 2 class that you think you're supposed to be in. Make note of the teacher's name and location, important for the next couple things down there. From 11:15 to 11:45 will be extra time if needed for the exam, so an extra half hour if any cadet needs extra time to take that exam, although all exams must be completed by 11:45. And then at 11:45 to 12:30, if your term 2 class is in Wicker or Moretz, in other words, a science building, and the math and foreign language section on the second floor of that building, then you will go to that class. So based on who your term 2 class is, if it is in Wicker Science or in Moretz, you will go to that class from 11:45 to 12:30. If you are in Hatcher Hall, if you are in the Academic Center, the basement of Hatcher Hall, if you're in the library, you will go to lunch from 11:45 to 12:30. Please remember, based on your term 2 class, not the class you're in right now. And then you'll switch that at 12:30 for 45 minutes from 12:30 to 1:15. If you have your term 2 class in Wicker or Moretz, you will go to lunch in the dining hall. And if you are in Hatcher Hall, the Academic Center, which is the basement of Hatcher Hall, or in the library for your term 2 class, you'll report to that classroom at 12:30. And then the upper school classes will be dismissed at 1:15 today. Now the middle schoolers, your class is your schedule today is pretty similar. There's just that change right there. You will have class from 8:15 thereabouts to 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock you'll transition into class number 2 for half an hour. And then during the 10:30 to 11 o'clock break, you will go to the chapel. All middle schoolers, all 7th and 8th graders report to the chapel at 10:30, and you will discuss your term 2 seminar options. 10 o'clock to 12:15, you'll go back to your class number 2, and then 12:15 to 1 o'clock, you will be in lunch. So 45-minute lunch there, 12:15 to 1 o'clock lunch. And then at 1 o'clock, the middle schoolers are dismissed for the day from class. My recommendation would be for you to report back to the barracks and see what Sergeant Major Ocker has in store for you as far as your schedule for the afternoon. Okay, so the class day for the middle schoolers is the same, with 2 exceptions. At 10:30, middle schoolers, 7th and 8th grades, report to the chapel for term 2 seminar orientation, and then also you will be dismissed at 1 o'clock today. So good luck, gentlemen. On the exams, upper schoolers, grades 9 through 12, famous scientist Louis Pasteur said, chance favors the prepared. We translate that today to say, luck favors the prepared. So I wish you good luck, but I know most of you are well prepared for this exam today. So best of luck on that, and I will see you back here on Thursday. I'll see you back on the morning devotions on Thursday, since we won't have devotion time tomorrow. Have a great day, and see you Thursday.